claimed victory. She said she had heard from her opponent, who conceded.
Before the viral clips and headlines, Jasmine Crockett was a defense attorney with a sharp sense of purpose and a clear understanding of the system's flaws. She didn't start with national attention, she earned it, case by case, client by client. Today, she's one of the most talked about voices in Congress, not because she follows the script, but because she rewrites it. Unfiltered and confident, she brings a presence that's both grounded and disruptive. From commanding floor speeches to bold personal style, Crockett is changing the tone of American politics and challenging the norms of who gets to speak and how. Jasmine's rise is about voice, vision, and visibility, and about a woman who isn't waiting for her turn. That's why today we're covering it all. So buckle up, because you're in for a treat. Jasmine Felicia Crockett was born on March 29, 1981 in St. Louis, Missouri. Her childhood wasn't filled with cameras or campaign trails. It was shaped by Midwestern values and quiet determination. Raised in a working-class family, Crockett grew up understanding what hard work looked like in a city with deep civil rights history. That backdrop shaped her world view early. Her parents also instilled in her a deep sense of purpose. It wasn't about achieving wealth or fame. It was about showing up, speaking up, and doing the right thing, even when it was unpopular. Those values became even more ingrained in her through her early education, as she attended Mary Institute and St. Louis Country Day School and Rosati Kane, an all-girls Catholic high school. As she grew older, Crockett attended Rhodes College in Memphis, Tennessee, where she earned a Bachelor of Arts in Business Administration. But over time, her interest in the law grew. She was drawn to the idea of defending people, protecting rights, challenging broken systems, especially after she faced hate crimes during college. That's why she went on to earn her Juris Doctor from the University of Houston Law Center. Her legal education wasn't a stepping stone to prestige. It was a foundation for impact. After law school, she served as a public defender in Bowie County. This work wasn't glamorous. It was gritty. It required resilience, empathy, and a deep commitment to fairness, all qualities that still define her political voice today. Over time, Jasmine ended up establishing her own law firm. While many young lawyers chase corporate success, she went the other way, focusing on criminal defense and civil rights. She was a loud and unapologetic advocate during the height of the Black Lives Matter movement, and her legal work earned her a reputation for standing on principle, even when it was unpopular. After years of defending individuals harmed by systemic failures, Jasmine Crockett began to ask a deeper question. What if the courtroom wasn't enough? What if change meant stepping inside the system and reshaping it from within? That shift in mindset pushed her toward politics, not for visibility, but for impact. In 2019, Crockett launched a campaign for the Texas House of Representatives, running in House District 100, a seat previously held by now U.S. Representative Eric Johnson. With minimal institutional support and little national attention, she hustled. Simply put, the odds weren't entirely in her favor. She was relatively unknown in traditional political circles. She met with residents in living rooms and local churches. She posted her own graphics on Instagram. She used live streams to break down legislation in plain language. Her message was straightforward: justice, transparency, and access, especially for underserved communities. She won the primary runoff in 2020 and entered the Texas House of Representatives with fire. In Austin, she quickly proved she wasn't there to play the background.
We must have trust and confidence in our elections. The bill that I'm about to sign helps to achieve that goal.
When Governor Greg Abbott pushed restrictive voting legislation, Crockett was among the Democrats who fled the state to block the passage of a restrictive voting bill. risking political fallout to make a statement about democratic integrity. That moment thrust her into the national spotlight, and it wouldn't be the last time she made headlines for standing her ground. Here was a state representative willing to risk her position and public scrutiny to stand firm. In 2022, Crockett stepped onto the national stage when longtime U.S. Representative Eddie Bernice Johnson retired after serving Texas's 30th district for nearly 3 decades. She endorsed Crockett as her successor. Winning that seat meant more than just political advancement. It symbolized generational transition from one trailblazer to another. When Crockett arrived in Congress 2 years ago, she joined the House Oversight and Agriculture Committees. But it didn't take long before she was being noticed far beyond those rooms. She's taken part in several headline-making hearings, using her legal background to grill witnesses with precision. Her exchanges have gone viral multiple times, not because she's looking for attention, but because her approach is impossible to ignore. In hearings, she combined legal precision with rhetorical sharpness. One moment in particular exploded online. During a chaotic oversight hearing filled with interruptions and tension, Crockett held her ground. Calmly, methodically, she delivered a series of lines that were clipped, shared, and captioned across social media. This went viral not because of what she said, but the way she said it. Steady, poised, slightly amused, but never rattled. It showed something that the political world often underestimates. Style can reinforce substance, and clarity can cut through noise. It was shared by millions, and she went on multiple shows because of it, but it wasn't an outlier. In subsequent hearings and floor speeches, Crockett has continued to blend performance with precision. She doesn't raise her voice, she raises her argument. Whether pushing back on misinformation or holding officials accountable, she has quickly earned a reputation as someone who does her homework and doesn't back down. Crockett isn't just a lawmaker, she's become a cultural figure, someone who exists at the intersection of policy and pop culture. At this point, she's a recognized name in households, dorm rooms, and comment sections nationwide. Her speeches aren't just replayed on C-SPAN. On TikTok, Gen Z creators edit her speeches into mashups with music. On X, her one-liners trend for hours and sometimes days. On YouTube, political commentators break down her arguments frame by frame. She's praised on podcasts, mocked on partisan networks, referenced in rap lyrics, and reviewed by fashion bloggers. Activists admire her, journalists take note, and it's safe to say that her name comes up in conversations well outside the usual political circles, but none of it seems to shake her. Crockett navigates the spotlight with ease, not chasing it, but never shying away from it either. She doesn't treat culture as something outside of politics. She understands that in today's world, the two are intertwined. And unlike many elected officials, she doesn't fear becoming a meme. She simply makes sure the message still lands. Unlike many in Washington, Crockett doesn't try to blend in. She's known for wearing bold colors, statement accessories, and her signature braids on the House floor, a style that stands in sharp contrast to the buttoned-up uniforms of traditional power. And that's the point. Her appearance isn't a gimmick. It's an extension of her identity, of her refusal to shrink or assimilate in order to be taken seriously. She forces a new question. Why should power have a dress code at all? In Washington, D.C., style is usually subtle, designed to suggest seriousness without distraction. But Crockett doesn't subscribe to those rules. Her fashion choices are part of her politics. We have to admit, there's something powerful about a woman walking into a room of suits in box braids, bold lipstick, and a fire orange pantsuit. For Jasmine, fashion is not an accessory to politics. It's part of her toolkit. Her clothing choices aren't about flash. They're about showing up as herself. in full color and full control. In interviews, she's been candid about using style to shift energy in a room. She knows that people notice what she wears, and instead of shrinking under scrutiny, she uses it as an amplifier. To her, visual presentation is part of leadership. Whether in Congress or on national television, she chooses boldness, not to distract, to reinforce. In a political landscape where women are still judged more for their appearance than their policy, Crockett flips the script. She makes it clear. You can care about justice and gel nails, and people are paying attention. Fashion blogs have taken note. So have political commentators. Even her critics can't help but remark on how she looks, which only reinforces her point. Style can't be separated from perception, and perception in politics is power. Despite her rising national profile, Jasmine Crockett stays grounded in purpose. Public interviews and verified sources reveal a woman who's not chasing attention but driven by impact. She speaks openly about the toll of public life, the constant pressure to be on, the value of rest, and the importance of staying surrounded by people who knew her before the headlines. Faith, service, and discipline anchor her daily rhythm. She credits her background in law for helping her stay focused, even in the chaos of political storms. But her work doesn't end in Washington. When she returns to Dallas, she prioritizes her district. She visits schools, joins community cleanups, and shows up at local events that rarely make the news. She's known to call constituents directly, answer questions on social media herself, and keep tabs on issues back home even while in D.C. For Crockett, visibility isn't the goal. It's a tool, one she uses to spotlight what matters most: voting rights, racial justice, economic opportunity, and equity under the law. She also mentors young women interested in law and politics, creating space for others to lead. There are no scandals, no spectacle, just a steady commitment to public service and personal balance. Jasmine Crockett's rise, from a solo law practice in Texas to the halls of Congress, isn't just impressive, it's instructive. She shows up as all of herself. Race, gender, intellect, voice, nothing dialed down, nothing filtered for approval. She doesn't silence her voice to sound more political, nor does she smooth her edges to make others comfortable. She brings the full weight of who she is into every room, every debate, every headline. In doing so, she is quietly rewriting the definition of what modern leadership looks like. Not just powerful, but unapologetic. Not just competent, but magnetic. Not just a representative, but a disruption to the norm. As her influence grows, the conversation expands. It's not just about her personal story, it's about what she symbolizes: a new generation of leaders who challenge the old codes of power. Leaders who prove that authority doesn't have to come in neutral tones and rehearsed lines. Leaders who understand that authenticity is a strategy, and it's what people are craving. Crockett's career isn't without pushback, but that only underscores her impact. The fact that she sparks admiration, critique, celebration, and debate is proof that she's shifting the center of gravity. She doesn't just occupy space, she changes it. By stepping forward without shedding her identity, Jasmine is showing others what's possible, not just in politics, but in any space where power has long looked the same. And that's exactly why she matters. That's all for today. If you liked the video, make sure to share it with your friends. Don't forget to like and subscribe, as we have more of these deep dives coming. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.